In March 2026, the halls of the U.S. Senate were filled with a tension we haven't seen since the height of the Cold War. While the public was distracted by minor news, a bipartisan committee fast-tracked the NASA Authorization Act of 2026. This isn't just another budget bill. It is a direct order to establish a permanent, crewed American base on the lunar surface to prevent ceding the strategic high ground to the People's Republic of China. For the first time, U.S. lawmakers are openly admitting what we've suspected. Without immediate action, the American flag on the moon might soon be overshadowed by Chinese infrastructure. The reason for this sudden panic is simple. China is no longer catching up. They are already leading in the most critical areas of lunar exploration. While NASA's Artemis II mission is only now, in late March 2026, rolling out to the launch pad after months of technical delays and helium leaks, China is preparing to launch Chang'e 7. This mission isn't just a rover, it's a high-tech fleet that includes a hopper robot designed to leap into permanently shadowed craters. China is hunting for the moon's most valuable resource, water ice, and they are projected to find it and claim the territory years before a single American boot touches the South Pole. This isn't a race for prestige or science for the sake of science anymore. This is a 21st century gold rush for the 8th continent of Earth. The nation that secures the lunar South Pole first will control the fuel stations of the future, turning the moon into a gateway for Mars and beyond. NASA's leadership is now facing a brutal reality. Their reliance on over-budget government rockets and unpredictable private contractors has left them vulnerable. As we enter the second half of 2026, the question is no longer if China will challenge American supremacy, but how much of the moon they will own before the U.S. can even land its first lunar habitat. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and know the real facts about the 2026 space race that the mainstream media is too afraid to report, hit that like button and subscribe to Exoplanet X right now. We track the moves that shape our future.
The technological divide in 2026 has never been more apparent. While NASA's Artemis program relies on a dizzying array of private contractors, docking maneuvers in lunar orbit, and the hope that SpaceX's Starship will be ready for a crewed landing by late next year, China's CLEP, Chinese Lunar Exploration Program, is moving with the precision of a military operation. Their new heavy-lift rocket, the Long March 10, has just completed its final round of static fire tests this month. Unlike NASA's approach, China is utilizing a dual launch strategy, one rocket for the crew, one for the lander. This modular system significantly reduces the risk of a single point of failure and is designed specifically for the rugged terrain of the lunar South Pole. What makes the Chang'e 7 mission, launching in the second half of 2026, so dangerous to American interests is its specialized payload. It features a hopper robot, a small autonomous machine that doesn't drive on wheels but leaps using thrusters. This allows it to enter deep, permanently shadowed craters where temperatures drop to -200 degrees C, places where conventional rovers would freeze and die. While NASA is still finalizing the design for its own Viper-class rovers, China is already deploying technology to analyze water ice and hydrogen directly on site. They aren't just looking for water, they are mapping the exact coordinates for their future International Lunar Research Station, ILRS. The American strategy, by contrast, is currently in a state of high-stakes chaos. The Artemis II mission, originally slated for a simple lunar flyby, is facing mounting pressure to be upgraded or accelerated as China's progress becomes impossible to ignore. NASA is essentially a hostage to the development timelines of private companies. If a single commercial engine test fails in South Texas or at Blue Origin's facilities, the entire U.S. timeline for a 2026 landing collapses.
China, however, operates with a single, state-funded budget and a unified command structure, allowing them to absorb technical setbacks that would bankrupt a private Western company.
Despite China's methodical progress in 2026, they are still facing a massive experience gap that money and government orders cannot easily bridge. While the Long March 10 is an impressive machine, it remains a traditional, mostly expendable rocket. In contrast, the United States holds the ultimate trump card, SpaceX's Starship. Even with the delays in the Artemis program, Starship's sheer scale and reusability are light years ahead of anything currently on a Chinese launch pad. In March 2026, SpaceX successfully demonstrated a critical atmospheric re-entry of a Block 3 Starship, proving that they are mastering the art of bringing massive payloads back to Earth. China's primary moon rocket is powerful, but it's a one-and-done technology that makes every mission significantly more expensive and slower to repeat than the American model. Furthermore, NASA still holds a decades-long advantage in deep space operations and docking technology. The complex maneuvers required to link the Orion capsule with a lunar lander in a near-rectilinear halo orbit are second nature to NASA, thanks to 50 years of experience with the International Space Station and the Apollo legacy. China is only now testing its Mengzhou, or Dream Vessel spacecraft, in low Earth orbit. Experts noted that during a recent orbital test in February 2026, Chinese engineers struggled with thermal management during long-duration docking simulations, a problem NASA solved in the 1970s. While China is great at robotic landings, they have yet to prove they can safely keep humans alive and mobile in the harsh lunar environment for weeks at a time. Finally, the American chaos is actually its greatest strength: competition. While China has one state agency, the U.S. has a multi-billion-dollar private ecosystem. If one company fails, another steps in. In late March 2026, while NASA was troubleshooting fuel leaks on the SLS, Blue Origin and Firefly Aerospace successfully landed uncrewed supply missions on the lunar surface as part of the CLPS program. This means that by the time Chinese taikonauts arrive, they might find that American private companies have already set up the utilities, power, oxygen, and communications for a profit. China is building a state-run monument. America is building a commercial economy.
While most people think the moon is just a barren rock, the world's superpowers are fighting over something far more valuable than gold: helium-3. This rare isotope is the holy grail of clean energy, capable of powering nuclear fusion reactors without creating radioactive waste. In March 2026, the global helium crisis reached a breaking point after a massive supply shock in the Middle East, causing prices to skyrocket. Almost simultaneously, the U.S. Department of Energy officially signed its first commercial contract with a private firm to deliver lunar-mined helium-3 by 2029. We are no longer talking about future possibilities. The business of mining the moon has officially begun. The numbers are staggering. A single gram of helium-3 can generate enough energy to power an average home for 2 years, and its market value in early 2026 has hit an astronomical $20 million per kilogram. China is fully aware of this. Their Chang'e 7 mission, launching later this year, is equipped with specialized sensors to map high-concentration helium-3 deposits across the South Pole. For China, securing these lunar oil fields isn't just about energy, it's about breaking the Western monopoly on resources. If they control the supply of helium-3, they control the next 100 years of global industrial growth. However, this gold rush is creating a legal nightmare that could trigger the first extraterrestrial conflict. The Outer Space Treaty of 1967 is hopelessly outdated for 2026, as it prohibits national appropriation but says nothing about private or state-led mining operations.
As China begins building its International Lunar Research Station and NASA counters with its own mining-ready habitats, the risk of territorial squabbles over the best craters is real. We are witnessing a new world order where the lines on the Moon's map will be drawn not by diplomats, but by the first mining rovers to plant their scoops in the regolith.